Here it is. For a professor with hundreds of students, it is very difficult to interpret the extent of those who have inspired or influenced. My admirations for 21 years were centered around envy of those who seemed to be on a higher level. People that were a skill or a class level that allowed them to stand on the shoulder of giants, the best athletes, the best students, the people who made the most money and got into the best schools. I am 21 years old. I went to ASU for 3 years before I transferred to NAU. This was my first semester in Flagstaff. The middle 4 of those 6 semesters in Tempe, I got all A's. However, my first semester at ASU and my final semester at ASU, I had to do complete withdrawals from psychological meltdowns midway through the semester. After months of social and therapy work, I was diagnosed and medicated for the first time with severe forms of ADHD, depression, and anxiety. After years on the roller coaster ride of astounding success that was always followed by suffocating failure, I came to Flagstaff reborn, lifted from the tracks of the roller coaster, and placed in NAU for the first time with 2 feet on solid ground. Dr. Kerry, my admirations have changed. Everything that I had known to be true for 21 years was discarded and flushed down the toilet. My mind was like a high-powered sponge. These were my first interactions with my new brain. I could write 20 pages to you, Dr. Kerry, on why I admire the light that is constantly being cast from your soul. Your light, Dr. Kerry, in as few words as possible, is what I admire. With my mind in its crawling phase, the one constant throughout this semester was the light that you cast. The one thing that my mind did not scrutinize or dissect. Right after my 201 final, I walked straight to the library and posted this on my Facebook wall. Lord, may you bless Dr. Kerry Henrickson, my Bio 201 anatomy teacher. She was physically unable to attend class for the last 2 weeks of the semester due to a new type of chemotherapy that she received. However, she summoned the strength and courage today to come straight from chemotherapy to administer our final exam. A beautiful and brilliant woman had to be wheeled into the classroom today, making her last trip to campus for the semester. I am signed up for her 202 lecture next semester, and Lord, if you could please bless Dr. Kerry and her family, and if you could please grace me with the presence of a teacher who I have developed such admiration for, not just for one more semester, but for decades longer, so she can retire on her own terms, so that future students can be blessed like I was. May the brilliant light cast by Dr. Kerry triumph in her battles to subdue the darkness that frankly doesn't know who it is messing with. How true. May she be victorious. My new mind loves specificity and depth. I believe that this email could have not been any more broad. However, I know that I am still one more semester to fill in the gaps for you. So that you know not only that you were my best teacher I ever had, but that your soul was the first constant thing that my brand new mind deemed worthy of admiration. Your light will triumph, and it is much too powerful to ever silence. I think that's a great letter that exemplifies the type of teacher she was for many, many students, including myself. So, and actually, Dr. Monk, that's her. So, I actually compiled them all in here, so you guys, when you're having a rough day, you can read through all of them. Some of them are pretty touching. So this is for you guys.
Kerry was my boss. I teach biology at Cochise, and she was, she wasn't really my boss. I never saw her. She was a great boss. But she was on another campus about 40, 50 miles away. And she let me do my own thing, and I always appreciated her, just letting me do my thing. I saw the other side to her, which was the side that stayed home and it was the funniest thing. I mean, I bet nobody else in this room could believe, they had this beautiful house in Bisbee. I mean, Jim remodeled it and Kerry designed it. And right in the main room, there was this couch. And this couch is where the rats lived. They didn't have a cage like they did in Flagstaff. In Flagstaff, they had a cage that was open. In Bisbee, they had a couch that they lived in. So you could be sitting there, and then all of a sudden you'd feel something on your neck, and there was Daisy. And then they ate in a different room, and so they'd go off to the other room, and they'd get their food, and then they'd go back into their couch. So that's where they lived. So needless to say, I will miss Kerry very much. She was really a ray of sunshine, not only to her family, but to people that knew her. Thank you.
Wow, class, you look great. I feel very privileged. I'm Dave Perotti, and I met Kerry. It's closing in on just 3 years now, because I was in on the committee that helped hire her. And I got to work with her very closely for about the last 3 years, and I can't really put into words exactly how good this lady was in the classroom. Now, for the colleagues that are here today that kind of know me, I like to think I know my way around the classroom. But within about a day after Kerry had arrived at NAU, I realized that I had become her pupil. Just about as much as Aaron, as a graduate student, would listen to her. I sort of had to start over. And Kerry had that ability to inspire me to make some changes in my sort of teaching career. And really what I want to stand up here and point out to most everybody here today, we have a number of her students here who she managed to touch, and I'd just like them to either stand or raise your hand for me and just kind of wave a little bit. Yeah! And I have to say, it was probably one of the hardest lectures I've ever had to give. I got the word 5 minutes before I had to step into the 201 classroom last week, and I remember telling the class, and I don't remember much else, but I remember telling them if they gave me a hand, I might be able to get through it without breaking up. And I just mentioned this to Jan today. I don't know how it happened, but I think I delivered the best lecture of my career, and I almost felt like Kerry was standing right there next to me. But a few of the students in this room were touched by Kerry in such a way that, and you know how students are. We get primarily freshmen type sophomore students that come to college really full of life, and at the same time not quite sure what they want to do. And Kerry managed to take a few of these people who weren't quite certain, and I'm positive now that they're on the road to becoming every bit as good of a teacher as she was. And I think part of the reason for that is her ability to inspire in them that idea that they can succeed. And once you have that done, which she does differently than I do, she'll provide them with 10 different methods to succeed. I usually provide them with one, and that's sort of go home and study. It doesn't work quite as well, and she's taught me that. And Dr. Mom, Dr. Kerry, and I can agree with soon Dr. Aaron, who will carry on this tradition, and I look forward to the day that I can see them all get together in a classroom, and we're going to laugh our full heads off. And the whole time we'll be thinking of Kerry. The only other thing I can add to this is, I know no one else in my lifetime that I can, everything I think about with Kerry, a smile comes to my face. It's like nothing, there's just nothing, every little story. When she met my first SI, who couldn't be here today, she's in Utah, they started talking shoes. Now to me, that's a foreign language. And they bonded in a matter of minutes in such a way that shoes, tattoos, they talked about how cork heels aren't necessarily the best thing to wear in certain types of weather. I had known my SI for 2 years and I felt I'd lost her inside of 2 minutes. And again, those of you that know Kerry, this is Kerry. This is Kerry all the way. And I think she'd be pleased today that we can sit and kind of laugh and as I've been all week long, every memory bringing just the biggest smile on my face I can think about, including everything I've heard today.